Hey, everybody. Welcome to today's episode of the Terra TV Twins. I'm your host, Roy, and with my co host, Tom. We're discussing Antlers. So stay tuned. Hey, everybody. Welcome to today's show. We are discussing Antlers. Interesting movie. I have some interesting things to say about it. How you doing, Tom?
I am great. How are you?
Living the dream. I was
Yeah.
supposed to record last week, but I had like 1 hour sleep. So that didn't happen.
Yeah.
And it was a rough weekend. Just not sleeping. And then getting old, it's like I'm just like not recovering as fast as I normally would. You know?
You slow down. I trust me. I know. It's tough. You in your mid 30s. I was like, I'm never gonna slow down. My body's like rubber. I can just stay up all night and go to work. And if I would skateboard, and if I fell, I just bounce right back up. Now it's like I don't skateboard because everything hurts when I fall. It's like I'm afraid my bones are just going to disintegrate. It's I don't sleep well. I never have, but like I need at least 6 hours to kind of function properly now. It's it's not fun getting old for sure.
No, it's not. And you always hear, "Oh, golden years."
Yeah, I'm waiting. I'm waiting for that. Oh, I got my TV on in the background. I didn't mean to. So what's new? You watch anything good recently?
Oh man, you asked me that last time too, and I wasn't prepared. I've been watching a lot of the horror movies on Netflix and Prime.
Nice.
But watch some of the older stuff. I have to watch it. I have to do a review of Christine. I watched some Jason.
Nice.
I watched. I guess I saw a Chucky movie at one point. One of the Chuckies. So one of them. Just kind of trying to think. Yeah, just your basic horror. How about you?
Well, because of my schedule, I'm behind on a lot of stuff. But right now, like my favorite shows right now are all based on podcasts. All of them. Inventing Anna on Netflix was fantastic, about Anna Sorokin there, the heiress, true crime. And they're all true crime. I'm a big true crime fan. That's probably like after horror. That's probably my next go-to. Most of the podcasts I listen to are true crime. But yeah, that The Dropout about Elizabeth Holmes from Theranos, who had $1 billion company and it was all just a scam. Very, very good, with Amanda Seyfried as Elizabeth Holmes. Fantastic show based on the Dropout podcast. Then I know we kind of talked about this and you said people who had mixed reviews, but Thing About Pam, excellent show. In my opinion, it's really cool. It's formatted different because it is based on a podcast. So there's at points this voiceover kind of podcast thing, but Renee Zellweger is, I think I said Reese, it's actually Renee Zellweger in it, and she's almost unrecognizable in playing the character. Again, a true story. Very, very good. I thoroughly enjoy it. I think I got to kind of rewatch this last episode because I think I fell asleep. And then, The Girl from Plainville.
Oh.
Which, guys, Plainville is... like, I can be there in 5 minutes from me. Roy is about a half hour from there. Our friend lives right there, Linda. Elle Fanning is remarkable as the girl. I mean, she deserves an Emmy or something. She just deserves an award. So far it's really good. Chloe Savini or Sevigny, depending on how
Savini.
I've always said Savini, but I've heard other people say Sevigny.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But she is great as the mother. She's not
the
in
family says Savini.
What's that?
The family says Savini.
Yeah, I always thought it was. I'm just saying what I had heard people say. I don't know what's accurate.
Well, there it is, because the family says Savini.
Why, you know her family?
No, but whenever they're on TV, they say Savini.
Oh,
whenever they pick up their family,
I
thought
you said her family. I was like, wow, do you know her? That would be so cool.
I know, same people you do, Tom.
But yeah, she's great. She's not in enough. She's always kind of been in like offbeat stuff because she kind of does her own, she's got like a quirky personality and she's just great in it. Yeah, I highly recommend any of those out there, guys, if you're looking for something good. And they're all based on podcasts, which I love because it just.
The one about the heiress. There's a lot of controversy that the Netflix isn't really what happened.
Well,
the several people that were involved were saying that a lot of it wasn't true.
Well, yeah, her friend has come out. One of her friends said it was, is what it is. She actually liked it. The heiress there, the fake heiress, she loved it. Thought it was great. She actually calls it a documentary. So for me, and of course, I mean, you got to realize all movies that are based on true stories, they dramatize, make a little bit more dramatic, add things.
It was either her or one of the victims said like the way they were portraying people, it just wasn't the way it actually was.
Oh, I'm sure.
I mean, I don't know why. I don't know if it's them that worry about how they're being portrayed because I haven't watched it, but it sounds like, from what I've been hearing from the girl that gets getting deported, and a couple of the victims, that they're making the guy look like he's the innocent guy out of the whole thing, and they're saying he wasn't innocent at all.
Did you watch it?
No.
Yeah, they don't make that guy innocent at all.
I'm just saying what she was saying and what one of the other victims was saying.
Yeah, no, but that guy doesn't come across as innocent in the show.
Yeah.
At all. No, he comes across as much of a scum as she does. Like, actually,
they don't think so.
I think the problem is kind of like after a certain episode, I don't know which one, after like the third, you don't see him as much. You know what I mean? It more revolves around just Anna and stuff. So
it's not weird that a victim would complain about one of the victims. This sounds kind of weird.
I'll have to look because, like I said, I mean, I always expect that on a show. I never expect it to be 100% or even 80%. You know what I mean?
It's not possible.
If it's 60% accurate, I think it's a success. And
I don't think it really matters. Unless it says documentary.
Yeah. And like I said, and a ringing endorsement is the fact that Anna calls it a documentary. So which
is funny. She's one of the people that's saying that they're making him look like he's a victim. He's an angel.
I'm gonna have to look it all up to get the specifics because, like I said, she is a big fan. And it's very, very good. So check them out, guys.
Yep. Hold on 1 minute, Tom.
Yep. Yeah, and you just, I'm gonna look up. I'm looking up as we speak, guys. See what he was talking about because I hadn't read too much afterwards. Usually after a show, I don't. I might do a little research but then it's like I got the gist of it, so I move on to something different. But now he's got me curious. Got me curious, yeah. And I really like his backdrop. It's pretty cool setup.
my dog was getting into something. I don't know. He got a bag of something. He tore it all up. I'm like, what is that sound? Because I'm not paying him any attention. He has to go crazy.
Ah.
Yeah. Joys of having a big dog.
The big
I
one.
apologize for that. You want to jump into this movie Antlers?
Yeah. I was just trying. I was to say it. I was that I was trying to find that what those people said that you were just telling
Yeah,
me.
I actually remember one of the victims' names. I know it was a blonde girl. I know that. Or
Because
woman.
I did hear some like her friend that's played by the black girl there, she is black. I heard there was she had some issues with her portrayal. I did hear that it was she. I think she said they made her a little too like robotic business, she's all about the business type thing and like not as carefree as she really can be and stuff. She was but I hadn't heard anything, so I'm just kind of looking. But yeah, whenever you want to jump into Antlers.
All right, so Antlers, 2021 movie. It was released on October 29th, 2021. It was a full 99 minutes. It was directed by Scott Cooper, producers Guillermo del Toro, David S. Goyer, and J. Miles Dale. So, what did you think of the overall movie? And like going into it, including the title, because the
So
title was like, oh man,
so it's I had actually Shay was the one that kind of was like, oh, you should check that out at some point. And I right away my guess, I didn't know much about it and before talking to Shay, and even then she didn't tell me too much after she watched it. She just liked it, and it's for a very specific reason. But I had always I had guessed due to the title that it was about a Wendigo, which it is. Just because Wendigo, I was trying to think of what in the horror, in that sort of paranormal realm has antlers. And not all portrayals of Wendigos, they have antlers, but most of the more common ones do. So I was pleasantly surprised because I was like, please don't be some obscure thing or something I hadn't heard of, or like I said, super obscure. So I was excited about that, that I was right on that. And then overall I enjoyed it. I mean, it wasn't perfect, but I enjoyed it. What about you?
um,
Start with the title too. Why?
yeah,
Because
title Antlers. I'm like, what is this? Unlike you, I wasn't thinking Wendigo at all. When you had originally told me that, I was like, okay, that makes more sense to me. But that being said, I'm like, title didn't do it for me, and the movie itself, that it being about the Wendigo, it to me just made it into an average Wendigo movie that didn't need to be made, in
an
my opinion.
average Wendigo.
Yeah.
Okay, so this has got me excited now. No, seriously. What other Wendigo movies do you know? Because I don't know many
Well,
Wendigo movies.
there's
I
a
know
bunch of them.
Hannibal, they had a Wendigo. I'm
when
gonna
when we did a Wendigo for our podcast, there were like 4 or 5 movies, and several of them come out recently. If you do a search of Wendigo movie search, there
I'm
have
gonna do
been
it right.
several in the last 5-10 years.
We're getting spammed.
Let me
Yeah, I gotta look that up because like when you say average Wendigo movie, I like I said, Hannibal, they had a Wendigo in Hannibal,
yeah.
and I can't remember any other like I'm sure I feel like there's one other that I had because I love the Wendigo. I think it's um so cool. Uh,
Yeah, like let's see. Let's do a search.
yeah, that's what I was just about to do because yeah, I'm gonna if there's a bunch, I'm gonna do a deep dive on Wendigo films.
7 scary movies featuring the Wendigo.
Yeah.
Right at the top.
And have you seen any of them?
Um, I watched 2 of them. A couple of them were on like Amazon or Netflix for a little bit. I don't know if they're still there or not.
because, like I said,
Last Winter, Frostbiter, The Wrath of the Wendigo,
I'm on there right now too.
Ravenous, Retreat.
Okay, these Pet Cemetery, 2019, I guess feature. Okay, yeah, I kind of remember that now. So, but it wasn't based around the Wendigo.
No,
Um,
The
but if you
Retreat.
read in the Ravenous, Wendigo never appears. The Retreat, 2020, haven't seen that. But a lot of these look low budget to me.
Well, yeah.
So I mean,
Mm.
from that standpoint alone, it's not average.
Oh, it's really average.
um,
You can put $5 billion in a movie if it's not that good,
No, I mean, if you didn't like it, you didn't like it. That's something else. But I'm just trying to see Frostbiter, the rat. That's definitely about that night. That looks super cheesy, but I really want to watch that now. Frostbiter,
It's just that
The Last Winter.
as I get into it, people will
Never
understand.
appears. Most of these, the Wendigo doesn't even appear in them. It's like if you actually read the description, Last Winter, it never appears.
Well, in this movie, it doesn't appear for almost an hour and a half.
Um,
I don't think that matters either.
That's but that's part. I mean, for me,
having it for 10 minutes doesn't make a good movie either.
Preference, but for me, I mean that kind of built the anticipation for me. I don't need to see the Wendigo in the first 5 minutes without a Wendigo.
Where did that build anticipation? Because I didn't see that coming anywhere. I didn't, because if I didn't know it was a Wendigo movie, I would have thought
I had the guess of the Wendigo and then just threw out it like it took me on a little bit because at first, they're in there down in that whatever, the mine thing.
Oh yeah, the mine shaft or whatever.
And everything. You hear the noises, whatever, and then basically, you hear some screams and then it jumps, to this basically the real start of the movie. And, the kid has them locked in there. So that had me at first. I was like, okay, I'm pretty sure this is about Wendigos, but I don't know what's happening right now with them. Like, did they catch a disease? But then it actually does make sense because part of it is within Wendigo lore, the Wendigos are cannibalistic, and they have that drive for the the meat, and that scene where the kid's just chopping away at the animal there. Yeah. That was like, I was like, ooh, I didn't need to see that. I didn't need to see that little boy, but hey, it made an impression.
I was eating that 2 times spicy noodle when that happened.
Oh God! Oh God! Dude.
I'm like, wait till Tom hears this thing. He's gonna laugh at me.
Which is the way it is. The way it's just chopping, and it's just like mush almost, and like it was.
I looked at my pasta. I was like, "That's what it looks like."
So at first I was confused because they were just locked in there, and it's like, why are they locked in there? But then as I saw that it was the craving for flesh, and that's a Wendigo. So then right from there, it's like, okay, yep, this is the Wendigo, and then started building. And they take liberties, of course, because it's there's only so much you can do with a Wendigo. I forgot where I was going from there, so I forgot what I was saying.
Let me give a little overview so that people.
Yeah.
Basically, it's an isolated Oregon town. A middle school teacher and her sheriff brother. You get involved in this with this little kid, and he's got some dark secrets, which again, his family's involved, and they have encounters with this creature. Which it's man, it's just it's so many issues, and it has a pretty good cast too.
It does. I didn't know the cast either going in, so I was so pleasantly surprised because I love Kerry Russell. I've always had a crush on Kerry Russell, and
Kerry Russell is a very beautiful woman.
Yeah, always, and I think she was in that show Felicity, or was Felicity. I never really watched.
Yeah.
I never watched that, but The Americans, and I know she was a bit older.
I
Played the
have to
mom.
watch that.
Oh my god, dude! Oh
You
my god!
you keep talking to me about it, and it's like I gotta watch this show.
Some people didn't like it. They said, people thought it was boring or anything, but like
But it's
people,
about espionage and
yeah, and it can be slow at points,
right.
but as people will see here, like I have a very, very broad tastes. Like I like a little bit of almost everything. So I was hooked by that show. It was so well done, and it was smart, and it was, like I said, it could be slow at times, but I don't mind slow. You know what I mean? Like I like when, again, stuff builds in anticipation. Like I don't mind slow moving as long as it does get somewhere. If it doesn't get anywhere, then I'm annoyed. But yeah,
Amy
and then
Madigan's in this movie too.
Jesse Plemons is fantastic, and he's married to
Yeah, I didn't know that either. He's
uh
married to
her.
Juliette.
Yeah, what's her name? I'm drawing a blank.
Oh my goodness,
It should be right there, even if you
Kristen
click on the
Dunst.
picture.
Kristen Dunst.
Dunst, that's what it was. Yeah, they met. I think they met on Fargo, the show
Really?
Fargo, on the season that they were both on. They played husband and wife, and I think it was maybe, or was he a cop? I don't, or something. But they were in Fargo together, which is another great show. God, I love that show.
Kerry Russell, him, and Amy Madigan made the movie for me.
Yeah, and I like the little kids too.
I hated the kids.
I thought he was
dead
because of his features and stuff, and like I find kids can be creepy sometimes. I thought he was a creepy kid. So
See, for some reason, I'm going through this phase. I don't know if it's a phase or not, where if I'm watching a show or movie and the character is just an idiot or is being just ridiculous, I just can't do it. I don't know why that is all of a sudden, but it's a new thing with me. And
I have noticed that you, from when I first met you to now, you're a lot harsher on stuff. I have noticed.
Same here. It's the weirdest thing.
It's like, because sometimes I get nervous. I'm like, oh man, does he even want to do this? Because it's like you almost seem to the point of angry at a lot of these movies.
Well, that's why I want to do it more, though. That makes me want to do it even more because I know you like it, and I want, like, I almost want you to convince me that I'm wrong. And I'm sure for the most part I am wrong. It's just my own opinion, but it's like I want you to change my opinion because I know you being as an actor, you understand more what goes on and blah blah blah. So it's like I'm like, well, maybe you can explain to me why it's like this, and then I'll be like, oh, okay, well now I understand it. You know what I mean?
Well, now that I know that, I'll try. Because if I say I kind of like, I'm like, oh, he doesn't like this, so I'm not gonna push the issue because it's
No, I want you to push the issue.
it
Makes for good videos.
it's
Push my buttons, Tom.
yeah, it's not so much about pushing the buttons. I just don't want it to become us talking over each other. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I liked it because of this. Oh, I didn't like that. So I think we have good dialogue without getting too crazy. So, but now that I know that, I will definitely try to sway it. Part of that's got to come from though is I got to know like very specific problems you have with stuff, too.
I get specific problems with this movie.
Cool. That's good then. That's good. And maybe I can talk you out of it. Maybe I can't, but I can try. So.
Like that bad cutscene when the sheriff and his sister, that dude, Jesse there, was talking to his sister, and they were talking about the body on the street. They were having a conversation about the body that she found. I think that's where she found it. And he was leaving, and he says to his partner, "You ready?" And he gets in the car, and then it cuts to a wide angle, and the guy's just staring at Kerry Russell. He's just staring at her. It's like, aren't you supposed to be like in a hurry? Like he's just kind of staring at her. I'm like, what is this?
I can't recall the scene, so really speak to that.
I wrote it down right away because I was like, I gotta bring this up. This is like, I don't want
Yeah,
this
I
to
wish
be
I would have
involved.
known. I would, because maybe there was just a choice in there that the actor was making that it didn't get picked up on. Maybe it was too subtle, because that can happen too.
Yeah.
It can be an actor making a choice, because that's what a lot of acting is. You're making a choice, and sometimes they're right, and sometimes they're wrong. Unfortunately,
My
and
problem is at that point I was having some issues with the movie because normally I'd be like, that's kind of cool. That's like in 20 years from now, that's going to be a historic thing. Like people are going to say about this movie. Remember that scene? You know,
yeah.
but and they still very well might. I mean, you know, it's just my opinion about how
Oh yeah,
horrible.
and that's it. I mean, everybody out there is going to realize that this is just our opinions. It doesn't mean if I give something a ringing endorsement and say it's fantastic, it doesn't mean that you're going to like it. But I feel like I have a pretty good track record when I recommend shit to people. That more times than not, this I didn't know for sure because both of us hadn't watched it beforehand.
Right.
But like. I feel like with you, and then I recommend shit to my buddy Pat, that I got a pretty good track record because I get to know you and then kind of know what you like or not like. Although it's been tougher lately, again, right, just because of what we just talked about. That but I feel like I've had more hits than misses when I recommend shows to you. Is what I'm trying.
No, yeah, you do. You definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, without a doubt. What do you think about if they did a prequel? I'd like to see a prequel about the family dynamic of Julia and her brother Paul and their father.
Okay.
That could be a good story because that seems to be a lot of like horror and bad things happening.
Yeah, that would be a cool way to go. Honestly, I'd watch that.
Me
Yeah,
too.
because they allude to it in the movie,
Yes.
but it's never. Yeah, that might be a good way to go. And depending on how well the movie did, I have no idea. It's like I know it's got to be tougher in this day and age with the dual releases or releasing but I could see that'd be cool, definitely. Because there's already a built-in story there.
Yeah, there is.
So yeah.
At box office, it made $35.7 million.
Now, did this open strictly in theaters for the first couple weeks, or was it like I said, a duel where it also was on HBO as well the same weekend? I don't know. I can't remember on this one if it was because of the pandemic, they were doing that a lot.
Yeah, let me check.
It's I'm trying to see if I can find anything on it.
Doesn't say. So I wonder if it just went to the theater at first. If you hear purring, it's my cat.
Yeah, I can't remember on this one if it was both or just or a couple of
seeing anything
a month after, or something. It came out on the HBO. It's just a new thing that's happened because of the pandemic.
It was on was it? It wasn't just on HBO. It was on something else too.
Was it? I don't know. I watched it on HBO. Is what I watched.
Too. Maybe I'm thinking Prime. Maybe to rent it.
Oh yeah, well Prime you can rent a lot of shit.
Because I think I ended up watching it on HBO also.
Yeah, because I'll check Prime, but yeah, I don't know. Look, so what other problems did you have with the movie, Rye?
Took too long to explain the boy's father and brother what was going on with them. I'm watching this movie and I'm like, all right, they're sick. They got bit by something, It just took forever to explain what was actually going on. I'm like, what is going on here? And I'm like, am I just slow and I'm just not getting this? Like, what's going on? So I was like, I got to talk to Tom and find out like what is going on here.
So
forever.
Yeah, it did seem like it did take him a while. Like it was like he was turning for a really long time. Is that what you mean? Like kind of like he was. It took so like he was turning for so long. He's in that room for so long,
Yeah.
and I can see that. I think it was a choice personally. I mean,
Yeah, this movie obviously is building a slow build.
Yeah.
That's obviously, and I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
It's just the way they explained it. The average layman person is not going to think Wendigo and be like, "Ooh, this is going to build in something cool," you know.
Yeah, and I can see that because people aren't as into cryptids as I am, and or Shay, so they may not get it, and that's just a fact, a take on it is that Wendigos aren't super known. Like it's not. I mean, I bet I could walk into or I bet most of my friends aren't familiar with a Wendigo. I like, aside from you, Shay, and a few, you know what I mean, the people that are into the paranormal and supernatural that we hang out with. But
right.
I can see that, and how it would be confusing. But for me, like again, and it comes down to preference too, and I like a good slow burn as long as the movie's not like fucking 4 hours or this movie was what did you say, in 99 minutes?
99 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, so hour 40. That's that's a good runtime, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So I like the slow burn but it also helped that I do have a familiarity with Wendigo and Wendigo lore, and so which is a big part of it too, because this is playing into Wendigo lore, where a Wendigo basically takes over a person, and and so I can definitely see how it would be confusing, for sure.
And to actually show the creature almost at the end of the movie, which I understand, a lot of movies it works,
Yeah.
but it just didn't work in this movie, in my opinion.
See, I like that personally. Like I liked it because the part of some movies, in my opinion, this is all my opinion again. Some movies I feel like often, or not, it's not a lot, but some movies they introduce the big baddie, the big bad of it too early, and it takes away from it. And especially in horror films where it's like, one thing I'm super judgmental about is special effects. And if it's done, if I think something's done poorly, it just like, or not even fantastic, you know what I mean? Like I have a high standard, it can totally take me out. And sometimes that happens when they introduce them too early. So now you're seeing it more and more throughout the movie. And I'm
Right.
like, and I start picking apart whether it's the special effects, if it's CGI, whatever it is, you know what I mean? I start picking apart and do it. And that actually happens to me a lot when people adapt Stephen King movies. The big bad sometimes gets introduced too early, or it looks after seeing it for a little bit, it doesn't look good anymore. For
Right.
me, a quick one. Yeah.
I have no problem with that, but if you're gonna do that, you have to lay blocks to build something. It didn't seem it was building anywhere for a long time. Like just showing them eating raw meat doesn't tell the average person anything.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like I said, I said that
They
before.
mentioned when
If
did
you're
they
not
mention
familiar
the
with Wendigo.
Wendigo?
What?
When did they mention the Wendigo? Because remember they mentioned it in the movie at some point.
Pretty early on. It was the the native guy, the Native American. She was talking, and he brought it up and said, "This is." He had, and they even showed an illustration of a Wendigo.
So that must have been how they wanted people to,
because Wendigos are from Native American lore.
Right.
They, I think it originated with the Ojibwa tribe, or possibly the Cree tribe. That comes from Native American lore, because it's like, they're cannibalistic, but they're essentially eating bad spirits. That's what it is. These Wendigos come to inhabit basically bad people. It is a super, super dumbed down, very layman's way of describing a Wendigo. Native American lore, they, eat bad people. It's there's a lot more to it, and I suggest anybody who is interested in it.
Which is why there's so many problems with this movie.
What? Say it again.
Everything you just said explains why there's so many problems with this movie, because no one's going to know this. They're going to be so confused.
Yeah, so I wasn't watching it for anybody else.
Right.
I was watching it for me. Right. So I didn't really look at it through that lens. You know what I mean? Because you know what I mean? Like, at the grand scheme of things, it makes no difference if all our viewers and listeners like it or not, to me, to be honest with you. Because
right.
I liked it. But
we have, I like to give a view of, like, the person who.
Yeah, well, I recommend it because I like it. I recommend it because I like it. But I admit, people, if you're not familiar with a Wendigo, I know I don't mean to repeat myself. I said it 10 minutes ago or whatever, but there will be confusing things. Yes,
but don't get me wrong, it's not a bad movie. I'm not trying to say it's a bad movie at all. I just think it's like, it's just, to me slow.
Yeah.
Which doesn't necessarily mean a bad movie, but it wasn't filling in the gaps enough, I don't think.
Which is fair, you know what I mean? That's part of it.
Explain to people,
yeah, it worked for me. It worked for me, but it doesn't have to work for you. I'm trying to think.
It only got a 60%, which is not too bad.
What's that?
It got a 60% approval rating.
Oh, really? On Rotten Tomatoes, or?
I forget what it was. Now you have to remember me.
Because what do you have to score to be certified fresh? On Rotten Tomatoes, I don't even remember anymore. Could be on, or it could be IMDb. The 60%. Who knows?
Yeah, it grows $10 million US, which really isn't that much. Rotten Tomatoes 60%. Oh no, my bad. That was the rating from. Here we go.
10 million. I thought you just said it made 36 million.
That might have been worldwide.
Oh, okay. I gotcha. Okay.
Which just seems awful low. Even for that movie, it just seems awful low. I can't.
That's why
35.7 million.
That's why I'm thinking maybe it was open. It was on HBO and the theaters. Because you're right, 10 million's low. Even in a pandemic, that's low. Like,
yeah, so. Rotten Tomatoes goes 60%. IMDb 5.9.
Oh, okay.
Metacritic was 57%.
Almost a 60% there too. So,
yeah.
So
it's average.
Yeah, a little bit above.
And that's what I would say. I'd say it's average.
This is by no. Yeah. This is by no means even close to one of my favorite movies or anything. Like,
it's not a movie I'm like, damn, I wish I didn't watch that movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this is if I were recommending this to somebody, it would go something like, do you like horror? Do you like supernatural things? Okay, this is a pretty good movie. I'm not gonna sit there and say, oh, this movie, the greatest horror flick since The Shining. Not even close. Not even in the same category or anything like that. This to me is a cool movie, especially if you're into, like, supernatural, paranormal, cryptid things. I think you'll get a kick out of it. But by no means would I be like would I say this is like a great film? No. But I enjoyed it overall. But again, and I said at the top, I have problems with it too. I had problems with it.
What are your problems with it?
Well, and you kind of touched on one of my bigger problems, and you kind of fleshed it out already, which I think is a great idea, was the backstory with them. Like, I thought we could have delved a little deeper into it, or something. But now I'm glad they didn't, because like if they were to go a prequel route, because that would be ideal. But I guess a prequel route, it would have nothing probably to do with a Wendigo at that point, right? Because
because if you did incorporate it, why wouldn't they have known?
Yeah, exactly.
Because that would have been cool to have the Wendigo back then. You could have been involved with their family also,
And that'd be interesting to know too, like, because unfortunately, in the filmmaking process and everything like that, editing in TV too, and they talk about it, and you can hear guys on podcasts, because I listen to a lot of different podcasts, and like I listened to one with the Workaholics guys, I listened to another with the Always Sunny in Philadelphia guys, and they talk about how in like editing and stuff gets cut out either by them or by the network or whoever's your boss, maybe it's Paramount or whatever, and sometimes those edits take out something important that would have tied it together. We even see it in superhero films now.
Yeah, the editors aren't perfect,
and
it's time constraints. They were money.
And they cut things that would make it make sense. Like I was listening to Always Sunny and the Workaholic. They both were talking about things that they had to cut out of an episode, and then later in the episode, it's like a payoff to that joke. But since that joke was cut, it doesn't make sense at the end, and they get a ton of questions about it. Like, what were you guys going for here? And they have to explain, oh, that's right. Originally it all tied together. So I'd be curious, and I'm not saying I know this for sure, but if maybe there was a tie-in, because that definitely would have helped, probably. Like, and I would think it helped the average viewer. If there was some sort of tie-in with the family somehow or something. But that was my biggest, was the fact that I thought that could have been explored, just even what went on, all the stuff, because she is clearly working through stuff, and they touch on it and they talk about it in the film, and I don't want to get too specific down into details, because guys, you should watch it if you are interested. But yeah, I thought that for me was one of the bigger things. I'm trying to think. I know I had some like smaller things that I had a problem with. I did get nervous when they finally were going to show the Wendigo. I was like, please don't be too shitty. like that's one of my, and that will take me out of the movie if the monster looks too shitty. And it looked good enough, I thought.
For this movie, I think it was okay.
It didn't take me out of it the way it looked,
sometimes the monster can ruin a movie.
Yeah, it really can. It happens a lot for me. Like I said, on Stephen King adaptations, for some reason, when they try to, put the big bad to screen on some of his adaptations, it just comes across, and it's just like, it looks so bad. It just completely takes me out of the film. Oh, excuse me.
Crazy.
Ugh. Oh, Jesus. Fucking dry mouth for some reason. Talking too much.
So you want to do the rating?
Sure.
Or do you have more you want to discuss?
I
got what I needed to say.
I'll say my piece, and then I'll give it a rating. So Like I said, I enjoyed it, guys. It may not be for everybody, but if you are into those paranormal, supernatural things, you might get a kick out of it. Again, by no means a perfect movie, by no means, but I think it's fun. It comes in at a cool 99 minutes. For me, that's a perfect length. You know, between 90 minutes and 2 hours is perfect for me. You know, once you're getting over 2 hours, it starts to get long, and I don't even care. Even the best movies, it gets a little long. You know, these. Well, I guess Endgame, that was really long, and that didn't feel long, but it was like action, action, action the whole time. It felt like so. But which this is not action, action, action. So it's a slow burn, but like I said, a cool 99 minutes. That's, you know, it's just here over an hour and a half. So yeah, that would be my recommendation, that you check it out. And as far as a rating,
That was my dog running into the kitchen. The cat was doing something, and my dog's in my bedroom, and he heard the cat or saw the cat, and he wants to play with the cat all the time. The cat wants nothing to do with him.
that's funny.
And the floor's slippery.
Yeah.
So he goes sliding across the floor. And he's a big piece of a dog. He's like 80 pounds.
Yeah, he's
a big baby.
He is a big guy.
So I'm sorry. Go ahead. What were you saying?
So that's what as far as, you know, if that's your speed, you'll like it. You should check it out. If you're not into that, then you might not like it, and you might just want to pass on this. But as far as a rating goes, let's see. Out of 5, I would give this I'll give it a range between 2.75 or 2 3/4 to 3 Wendigos.
No way.
It's what do you mean, no way?
You ever get that up there with your other movies?
No, 2.75 is by far the lowest that I've said so far. And
2.5 to 3.
2.75 to 3. Yeah, which is
so
only
it could be a 3.
A quarter. But yeah, but I put Christina over 4. I put, you know, so I think that makes total sense that it's over a point, because I'll break mine up into quarter points. You know what I mean? And but that's my rating. And you could say no, but that's my rating.
No, Tom, no.
And I was Christine was over 4, and what else did we review?
I thought you rated something 3.
I think I rated the other one 3.75 to 4.
Oh.
So, and I think Christine was 4.5. So I think that's fair.
I'm more direct.
2.75 to 3 in there is what I think.
The movie, to me, it was slow. A little slow. Not too slow. I've seen slower.
Oh, yeah.
And it got bogged down at points. It took 3/4 of the movie to explain what was really going on. Like there were very few tidbits. Like Tom said earlier, they explained the Wendigo. They brought up the Wendigo early in the movie, so it makes you think, oh, maybe the Wendigo. But then it doesn't really give you anything else to really say, oh, it's definitely the Wendigo, unless you know about the Wendigo, which I think is a big problem in a movie like this. And the kid just annoyed the hell out of me.
Yeah, I thought he was creepy, and for me, like I said, kids can be creepy, and a creepy kid, there's nothing creepier than a creepy kid, in my opinion. Like I don't know, with children and stuff, I get freaked out by creepy kids. So
he just annoyed me a little bit too much until it all got explained what was going on. So the movie basically made me not like the kid 3/4 of the way through the movie, and so I can only give it a 2.
Okay.
Give it a 2. It's not a bad movie. I think it's a movie that if you're a horror fan, you'd probably like. But
no,
as a movie goes. So
I do have a question off of that though. So they because they did that, like, that in that which it could have been way more elaborate on, where the Native American guy explains the Wendigo, but then, like you said, it kind of doesn't get brought up for a while. At some point, did you think it was anything else after he brought up the Wendigo? Were you at any point where you're like, well, maybe it's not a Wendigo and it's blah 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 or
The way
something?
things were going, I'm like,
Like
I
a
had forgotten
bug?
all about the Wendigo. I started thinking it was maybe it was some type of virus or something. They got bit by
Oh,
something in
okay.
the thing, and a
Good.
virus affected them. Because the
Okay.
way that they had the family locked, they had the family locked up,
Yep.
and the little brother that was so confusing. Out of the blue, he just shows up. I'm like, what's going on here? What's all this? And then the whole father that was all confused. That just confused me even more. Mid of
So,
the
that,
movie.
that's interesting. I didn't. So that's good to know. I was curious on that after you had said that just now. It's like, well, I wonder what else we thought it could have been, but a virus. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, I was into a virus until you saw the horn. Like, oh, yeah, that's the one to go. Like that maybe
so
that just annoyed me at that point. I'm like, you got to give more than that to people that
that's
especially
funny.
these days.
It never crossed my mind because after between the title, which I know it's like if you don't know when to go, and then after the Native American gentleman explained it, nothing else crossed my mind because there was going into it. Because again, Shay didn't tell me too much. I was like, maybe it is different or a different take on it. But after those two things, I didn't. But that's good to know. Interesting. So cool.
Yeah. All right, so you want to tell them what we're reviewing next week, Tom? I know you're
Yep.
excited about this.
Yeah. One of my new favorite shows. We're gonna do season 1, episode 1 of the new Chucky series. Well, not so new anymore, but came out. Season 2 will be dropping sometime later this year. So
It will be more on top of that.
yeah, which I'm excited for because it's a really really fun show. Chucky's always been sort of a guilty pleasure of mine, and yeah, I thought I had a lot of fun with this show. I am nervous for season 2 because it is a sci-fi show, and sci-fi traditionally, like after the first after the first season or two, it's like a show is at its height of its popularity, but then it starts to wane and they start cutting the budget on shows. So I am nervous about that, but I'm hoping because it is tied to such a iconic franchise that they'll keep the funding up to keep it going. So yes, please make sure you check it out. It's going to be a good episode next week. Season 1, episode 1 of Chucky.
Yes. So that's it for this episode. Let us know down in the comments what you guys like. If you guys like this movie, if you saw this movie, if you're going to watch this movie, what do you think of our ratings? Let us know. So for Tom and myself, you guys have a good night.
Thanks, guys.